There's a group of students on campus that wake up at the buzz of an alarm clock just hours after most of the student body has gone to bed. You may think of them as dumb jocks, think they have nothing to offer but some athleticism, may only see them strolling into class a few minutes late, or may only hear from them when they need notes from the past 3 classes that they've missed. There's something you need to know, though, because to the general student body, there are things that you don't see. Those dumb jocks spend the majority of their time training their bodies, and when they're not, they're studying, getting caught up on classes, and teaching themselves new material. You haven't seen them in class in the past week because they've been in and out of hotel rooms, traveling and competing to represent their school well. They are doing homework on the bus on the way to competitions, staying up late on the road to finish online exams, and attempting to balance what normal college students do alone, but instead they do it while holding a full-time job. You see them strolling into class late because they've been at practice and in the weight room since before you even thought about getting up. And you can forget about having time to actually eat or shower because you see the thing is, they've already put in a full day's work before they even pick up their books to start a full day of classes. Hello everyone, my name is Cecilia Alvarez and I'm a collegiate athlete who knows the daily struggles. And while I'm only in the NJCAA right now, I know how tough it is being a college athlete. The National Collegiate Athletic Association, the NCAA, is a multi-billion-dollar industry whose income comes 80% from television, while the other 20% comes from contributions such as boosters, investments, and sales in ticket and merchandise. And even with all this money being made, the NCAA is considered a non-profit organization. And up until a few years ago, I believed too that college athletes should not be paid, but then I became a collegiate athlete myself. And I know how tough it is. So I'm here today to give you more information about what a college athlete goes through and why they should be paid. College athletics is a billion-dollar corporation that strives on the success of these 18 to 22-year-old athletes. These athletes put their lives on the line to represent their school but are not paid. So what are these athletes playing for? The NCAA has been around for 107 years, meaning millions of college athletes have come through and tried to make a name for themselves. These players put not only their career, but their lives on the line every time they step onto the field or court. If these players are injured, and it is very serious, this could put their career in jeopardy, not only physically but financially. As Ramogi Hume, the founder and president of the National College Players Association, reported in the Daily Caller, former Oklahoma quarterback Kyle Hardick was under scholarship until he was hurt only 6 minutes into his first game. Hardick lost his scholarship for not recovering quickly enough, and Hardick's family was slammed with tuition bills. And with those unpaid, Hardick could not get his transcripts to transfer to another university. So now his family is in financial troubles, and Kyle is stuck with not only no career in football, but also no college degree for a job in the future. The NCAA reports that it has its own catastrophic injury insurance, which insures athletes up to $20 million, but the majority of injured athletes do not apply for this insurance. This is because, as aforementioned, Ramogi Hume states, if you don't lose a limb or motion in one of your limbs, you cannot be considered catastrophically injured. Many players never find themselves catastrophically injured, but still cannot come back from severe injuries such as broken legs, ankles, torn ACLs, or dislocated joints. Now that you see what college athletes risk every game and what could happen if an athlete was severely injured, let's talk about how these athletes who do not have families that are financially stable. Many of the athletes in the NCAA come from neighborhoods where a full functioning family is very rare. Many of these students, which are mostly minorities, go to play sports in college because they feel it is their only way out. According to the Business Insider sports page, 99% of college athletes do not go pro, and only one sport, baseball, had more than 2% of NCAA players go pro. So these athletes are risking their families' well-being with little hopes of ever making it big to where they can actually be paid. Many minority athletes did not have the resources in high school in order to be academically eligible to play collegiate sports. Standardized testing has become much harder over the years, as you can see here. So not only can these athletes not broadcast their talents, they cannot pass the classes in order to receive their degree, leaving them at a crossroads trying to provide for themselves. In the New York Times, Charles Rooney, who is a director of the National Center for Fair and Open Testing's Fair Play campaign, states that under Proposition 16, which came into effect in 1996, student athletes are required to score a 21 on the ACT test. So this affects kids who did not receive the proper education in these high schools with low budgets, and that's very detrimental to them, leaving these students without sufficient knowledge to do well on these standardized testing. These rules and propositions required for athletes are very unfair for the low-income families. Now let's take a look at the big picture. Without these athletes, there is no money being made whatsoever. So why are they not being paid? Merchandise is sold representing these players. Players sell tickets and are put in video games and do not receive 1 penny for any of this. So why should a player not be rewarded for his or her performance? If thousands of people are buying his or her jersey, they should be given some of this revenue for their spectacular performance. Now, according to the NCAA, they receive roughly $1 billion a year from college football being broadcasted just on television. So why can't these athletes receive a cut from the TV money? Corey Walker, one of the biggest contributors to the Bleacher Report, states that big-time college football coaches receive an average salary of $2.11 million. So why do these coaches get paid so much, but players get nothing? Schools spend millions of dollars on stadiums and coaches for these athletes to perform to the best of their abilities, but simply receive no love from the NCAA for their performance, which brings them millions, even billions of dollars. The NCAA is practically ripping off these student athletes by making them perform in the classroom and on the field or court, but giving them no pay. Here's a clip from the Fab Five from Michigan University that will really make you question what college athletes do. College athletes do not receive any money from the NCAA.
I might have to give it a try.
As freshmen, they felt excited. As sophomores, they felt exploited.
I didn't feel like a college kid anymore. I felt like a professional athlete that wasn't getting paid. I remember we were in Chicago one time, and we went downtown to the Nike outlet, and we walked past a display. It said, Fab 5 Nikes. That's when you start realizing having your own shoe doesn't necessarily put money in your pocket.
The year after the Wolverines won their only title in 1989, merchandise royalties totaled $1.6 million. Following the Fab Five's freshman season, that number would climb to a 2-year total of $10.5 million. It was amateur athletics, but business was booming for everyone except the Fab Five themselves.
Perception of our lifestyle, that we were living like rock stars. We weren't living that lifestyle. That just wasn't what it was. We were eating cereal some night, cooking hot dogs. That was our lifestyle. We lived just like every college student.
I drove a green Dodge Shadow that my mother gave me. All right? That's why it kills me when they try to act like we was getting it so big.
The only perks that we really got were pooling our money together to go to Taco Bell. They recognized who we were and gave us more taco.
In conclusion, you see why college athletes should be paid. They perform on and off the field, making billions of dollars for several corporations and universities, but receive none of the money. The NCAA is a billion-dollar industry that does not pay their employees. Low-income and minority athletes face a big challenge in order to succeed in collegiate sports. And the players bring in all of the money from merchandise, ticket sale, and video games, and are still considered to be on the amateur level. Their performance, dedication, and hard work is not rewarded in a sufficient manner. Now that I've convinced you that college athletes should be paid, I'd like for you to sign this petition saying that you support these athletes getting some kind of income for their work.